Welp, I don't have any funny puns for this one besides, holy shit, this is thick. And when I say thick, I mean thick. Look at this monstrosity. This thing is so damn wide. The blade stock is huge, but it's all ground pretty damn thin. But like just the thickness of the scales is, honestly, it's kind of astonishing. This isn't so much a knife as it is a sculpture, as it is an art piece, as it is an exercise, and why the fuck not? Also, before we go any further, my normal setup just died on me, so my audio is going to be pretty spotty, but thanks to the YouTube algorithm, I have to keep content flowing, so the next couple videos are going to be kind of shoddy, and I apologize for that. But anyways, this is the Gladius, and this is lent to me by my good friend Dirk Weirning. I don't know how you say your name, brother. But this is lent to me by my good friend Dirk. This is the Phill Harvey Gladius. This is an absolute monstrosity, but it actually feels really good in hand. And Dirk, take a look at this thing, buddy. This is kind of made for my hands. It's not oversized. It's also not small. This kind of suits me, brother. Now on to the meat and potatoes, as you will. So first things first, we have this crazy clip with this beautiful orange peel titanium that is almost as thick as some full-on knives, and it's just the actual clip. But despite all that, the spring tension and everything else is spot on. It does slide into the pocket quite nicely, as well as it also comes out quite nicely. As far as how this carries in the pocket, I mean, being as thick and as wide and as extra as this thing is, about as well as you might think. It's not comfortable by any means, but it definitely is a functional carry. Now, as far as the actual scales, as you can see, we have this beautiful bronze anodized orange peel titanium, a titanium pivot collar in this kind of jagged pattern, which is really interesting. A hyper aggressive titanium backspacer, which is about as sharp as the actual knife itself. This thing could totally fuck someone's day up and could probably cut you, put enough force into it. Now, when it comes to the actual lock, as you can see, we have an absolute slab here. You know, again, the actual scales are very thick. As such, the lock bar is very, very thick, as well as the actual lock bar insert. Everything about this knife is just a little bit extra. But even despite that, this knife does require two hands to close, but it still is very graceful in hand, and overall does have fantastic action for it being the monster that it is. Coming in at a scant 17.9 ounces, you could never feel this thing in pocket. And by the way, the sun apparently hates me, and I could not, oh, now we're at 18 ounces. This thing is so heavy and so monstrous it has broken my scale. I rest my case. Sorry about that, folks. It was absolutely impossible with this damn glare to actually get an idea of what the scale actually said, so I had to slide back into ye old office, which does not have very good acoustics at all. But yes, this is a big knife, this is a heavy knife, but it does feel fantastic in hand. Now, how does it actually cut? And the answer to that is, it actually cuts quite well. Is it an incredible cutter? Is it an amazing cutter? Is it gonna dethrone kind of the cutting champions? No, but it definitely does cut. There is a slight bit of tearage occasionally, but to be fair, paper isn't really where this knife shines, because the Gladius is a warrior, and warriors are meant to be used. And this thing rockets through cardboard without any problems whatsoever, and is overall an absolute joy to work with. And I have used this knife. Not abused. This is not my knife. It's a very expensive handmade custom by one guy in a small shop in the UK. Also, Dirk might try to kick my ass, and I will feel bad and not fight back, so he'll win. Joking, of course. So did not abuse it by any means, but it has been used, and overall, I'm pretty impressed. Before we go too much further, though, I just want everyone to take a look at this beautiful satin finish. It's a fingerprint magnet, so it's not quite as beautiful as it could be, but I kind of want to give it an authentic feeling of how this will actually look with use. I love this blade. It is so damn cool. Now, last but not least, this is my 8th day having this knife in hand, and we're pretty close to twilight. So I'm running out of daylight pretty quickly here. How is the deployment on this knife? To be clear, you can roll it out if you want to. It's not the best feeling to roll out, but it definitely is possible. You can also flick it. Sorry, folks, I'm in a little bit of trouble right now. But my main way to take this knife out is to grab the actual blade, whip it, and it slides perfectly to that piece right there, and then I can start actually using it. And for that, it feels fantastic in hand and has good action. Again, for it being as big as it is, you're not going to be able to flick it out or whip it out like it's nothing. There's a lot of force required to get a blade this size out, but once it starts going, it's not going to stop. So, be careful. Because speaking of stopping, with a little bit of shake, this blade goes very, very nicely. And even that is kind of a testament to Phill Harvey's engineering, right? For this knife being as big as it is, if this blade drops shut, it could definitely be a literal guillotine. So it does drop shut. It is smooth, but it's smooth with a little bit of resistance, so it's just a little bit safer in hand. It makes it overall a bit better to use. Now, before we close it out, here are a few size comparisons. We have my custom XM24, a Medford full-size .26 Marauder, as well as the Phill Harvey Gladius. In case anyone's not convinced yet, this is a big-ass knife. This is the king of big-ass knives, according to most of the industry, the Medford full-size Praetorian tie, and this thing looks tiny. So, yeah, giant knife. Just for shits and giggles, you can fit about 90% of every single knife on this table in just the handle itself. Again, it's a big-ass knife. So, in closing, who is the Phill Harvey Gladius really for? Is it for the EDC crowd? Technically, I EDC'd it. Will most folks enjoy it? No. This thing pulls down my pants even while wearing a belt. It is a crazy overbuilt knife. Is it for general utility tasks? To be honest, while it does cut very well and it also has a overall fantastic ergonomics, it's not the most ideal, and I would definitely reach for a great many things before I reach for this. Is it for the collector investor crowd? Honestly, I think that's kind of where this knife shines. I think a good collector investor crowd is the type of person that they want something a bit extra, they want something a little bit crazy, kind of just a flex piece that if you wanted to, you could use it, but you probably won't. And to be clear, that's kind of how I feel about this knife. And as such, this knife is going to be getting 2 scores. If this was a collector investor exclusive piece, I would give this knife a 10 out of 10 because it is extra, it is functional, it is weird, and it's that little bit of craziness that I believe really appeals to that crowd. As far as a primary EDC knife reviewer, I would have to give this knife a 6, unfortunately. While I personally really do love this knife, as far as for the average person, it's not really what it's built for. So if you are looking for just an EDC knife or to get maybe into your first custom, I would probably avoid this brand and this maker. But to be very clear, down the road, when you've acquired different tastes and you really want something that crazy, that flex, that interesting piece that just kind of makes your collection shine and stand out, the Phill Harvey Gladius, or from what I understand, anything Phill Harvey is absolutely fantastic and good to go. Now, as always, folks, thank you so much for your time. Your like, support, subscribe, your comments, they mean the absolute world to me. I appreciate you all, and I love you all from the bottom of my heart. Please take care. Have a great day, morning, noon, or night, whatever you are doing. Have a fantastic one. I love you all. Be blessed, be loved, and be happy. Take care, folks. Bye.